Mentor stole my entire tech pitch live on stage during the biggest presentation of my career, then acted like I was the villain when I called him out and told him he deserved everything that came after. Alright, this is gonna be long as hell, and I'm still processing everything, so I'm splitting this post in 2 parts. The second part is coming right after this. No throwaway because I want this attached to my name. F it, I've stayed quiet long enough. I have been grinding for years to get my startup idea off the ground. I'm a back-end engineer who left a pretty comfy job to go all in on a product I believed in. Built the prototype myself, funded it with my own savings, slept on a mattress on the floor for 2 years just to make it work. The idea was a streamlined DevOps automation platform that could actually adapt to individual team workflows. Think Zapier meets Jenkins meets AI-powered task routing. It wasn't flashy, but it was clean, powerful, and fast as hell. Every engineer I demoed it to was like, holy shit, this would save us 15 hours a week. Now here's where it gets insane. About a year ago, I got introduced to this dude, Alex, 45 million, through a local founder meetup. He was well known in the scene, one of those ex-Googlers who turned investor mentor. Polished, charismatic, everyone loved him. I was skeptical, but he took a legit interest in my work and started mentoring me weekly. He gave solid advice, made intros, helped me practice pitches, said he believed in me, that I was a genius just missing the polish. Honestly, I bought into it. Fast forward to last month, there's this huge startup expo that happens annually in SF. One of those ultra-hyped events where big investors circle like sharks and tech media covers every inch. I somehow got picked for the Emerging Tech Founder Spotlight, which is basically 5 early-stage startups pitching their product to a packed audience, judges, VCs, and press. It's the moment you dream about if you're in this game. I told Alex right away. He seemed hyped, offered to help me refine the deck, said he'd fly out to support me in person. We worked on it all week leading up to it. He gave notes, helped tighten the demo flow, even had me practice the transitions and timing. I had the damn thing memorized like a TED Talk. It was my pitch, my product, my design, every part of it. Day of the expo. I'm running on adrenaline and no sleep. I check in, get my badge, head backstage early. They've got us staggered by time slots. I'm third. This is where it starts going off the rails. I'm sitting in the back green room waiting for my turn when I hear the MC introduce the second speaker. And now, please welcome Alex Carter, presenting his innovative platform designed to revolutionize DevOps automation for engineering teams. My stomach fucking dropped. At first, I thought I misheard. Maybe there's another Alex Carter, but nope. This dude walks on stage, wearing a suit, strutting up like he owns the place. And I see it on the monitor. The slide deck. My slide deck. Same graphics, same layout, same phrasing. The frustration versus solution intro I wrote. The color-coded workflow diagram I designed from scratch in Figma. Even the damn placeholder bugs I left in the demo video because I hadn't exported the final version yet. He copied everything, literally just slightly renamed it. My tool was called FlowPath. He called it FlowPilot. That's it. I stood there frozen, like an idiot. Everyone around me was watching the screen, nodding along like, wow, this is brilliant. I wanted to scream. He delivered the entire pitch like it was his. Smooth as hell. Hit every point. Made jokes I had written in the notes section of the script. Claimed he'd been quietly building this tech for a year and finally felt ready to share it. Even threw in a fake use case story about how his team had reduced CI/CD time by 40% using his tool. When he rapped, the crowd erupted. Judges were praising him. A couple VCs even stood up. I was still backstage, and I did something I still can't believe. I walked right up to the stage manager and said, I'm pulling out. My presentation's already been given by the guy before me. The manager was confused. I told him, flat out, Alex had just plagiarized my product and presented it as his. Showed him an email with the deck timestamped from 2 weeks ago. The manager blinked, didn't know what to do. Security got involved. It was chaos. Meanwhile, Alex is backstage again, shaking hands with judges and pretending like I don't exist. So I walked right up to him, in front of everyone, and I said, you stole my fucking work. Every line of that pitch was mine. You even used my damn placeholder bugs. What the hell is wrong with you? He didn't even flinch, just kind of smirked and said, careful man, you're sounding really emotional right now. This isn't a good look. That's when I lost it. I told him he was a parasite, that he preyed on people like me who don't have connections or polish, and that he deserved whatever was coming next. I said it loud, real loud, and guess what? He suddenly looked nervous. Within 10 minutes, staff pulled us both aside. Alex tried to spin it, said I was confused, that we'd worked together on concepts, but the IP was shared, that I was having a meltdown because I wasn't ready for the stage. But I had receipts, emails, deck drafts, Git logs, even recordings of our Zoom calls where I walked him through features. They pulled in the organizers and asked us both to submit documentation. I gave them a flash drive with everything. Alex kept saying this was just a misunderstanding. When I left that day, I didn't know what would happen next. My name wasn't called, no pitch, no spotlight, nothing. It felt like the moment I'd worked my whole life for had just gotten hijacked by some smug snake in a blazer. But here's where it gets even crazier. 2 days after the expo, I start getting texts from mutuals in the startup scene. Not just sympathy texts, angry texts. Apparently, someone in the audience had recorded Alex's whole presentation, and my deck showed up in the background of one of the frames, time-stamped with the original file name still visible in the taskbar. Some absolute legend on Twitter zoomed in, reverse-searched the deck name, and found an old cached page of my GitHub site from 6 months ago where I had a preview of the architecture. That tweet blew up. Like blew up. Overnight, the narrative shifted from, wow, check out this cool DevOps platform, to Tech Bro steals startup from mentee gets exposed by timestamp. TechCrunch picked it up. So did Hacker News. Even a few YouTube commentary channels jumped in. Suddenly, I was being asked for interviews. Alex, nowhere to be found. He nuked his socials. His website went under maintenance. People started digging into his past. Turns out, he'd pulled similar stuff before. Not always this blatant, but enough that folks came forward with receipts. I thought that would be the end of it. But nope. A week later, I get a cease and desist letter from his lawyer, claiming I'm defaming him, that I've manufactured a campaign of public harassment, that I used our shared collaboration materials and falsely presented them as solely my own. The kicker? He demanded I remove all public statements regarding the Flow Pilot project, including but not limited to tweets, interviews, and blog posts. I laughed out loud when I read it. Then I hired a lawyer. By this point, several people from the Startup Expo had come forward to back me up. Staff, attendees, even one of the judges who privately said they felt played after watching the footage again. My lawyer drafted a response. We didn't just deny his claims, we hit him with a formal IP theft allegation and notified the expo organizers officially. Guess what? That was the real domino. Because once the organizers saw everything laid out, emails, code commits, Slack messages, deck drafts, they made a public statement. We regret to inform that Mr. Alex Carter has been disqualified from the 2025 Emerging Tech Founder Spotlight for violation of IP integrity and presenter misconduct. Boom. He got dropped like a bad habit. A few of his advisory roles at early-stage startups went dark too. One of them DM'd me to say thanks, said they'd been working with him for months, and he'd been suspiciously evasive about where his ideas came from. The best part? The expo team offered me a solo demo slot on their homepage a week later. It wasn't the same as being on stage, but that video got almost 90,000 views. A few VCs reached out. I ended up taking a small round of seed funding, nothing huge, but enough to finally move out of my one bedroom and hire 2 devs. Real progress. But here's the twist no one saw coming. Last week Alex emailed me. Like, personally. No lawyer, no double C. Just straight up, you won. Congrats. I just hope you realize you burned every bridge you'll ever need in this industry. People don't forget public drama. They don't invest in unstable founders. Enjoy your 15 minutes. I didn't even reply, just screenshotted it and saved it. Because here's the truth, man. He didn't make me. He didn't build this. He leached off it. And when he saw I had something real, he tried to steal it before anyone knew my name. Update 1. Appreciate the wild amount of support and messages. Some of y'all have been real ones. Never thought this would get traction, but here we are. So, 2 weeks since the expo blew up, and I dropped the receipts. Since then, things have been weirdly split down the middle. Half the people in the tech space are treating me like some kind of hero for standing up. The other half are either quiet or acting like I just broke some unspoken code by taking a mentor down publicly. But that's not even the wildest part. Last Friday, he showed up in person to my damn co-working space, unannounced. I was working out of this shared office in Oakland, nothing flashy, just one of those indie-type buildings where everyone's doing their own hustle. I'd just gotten back from grabbing a sandwich when I saw him, standing in the fucking lobby, holding a fancy-looking gift bag. I froze. At first, I thought maybe it wasn't him. Maybe I was paranoid, but nope, same guy, same smug posture, except this time he looked off, like he hadn't shaved or slept in days, wearing a Patagonia vest over a wrinkled button-up, like he'd been trying to do damage control on the fly and hadn't gone home in a while. He saw me, smiled like we were college buddies running into each other at Whole Foods, and walked over. I didn't say a word, just stared. He handed me the gift bag and said, "Truce?" I didn't take it. I asked him what the hell he was doing there. He said he was extending an olive branch and wanted to talk things through like grown men, because this whole thing's gotten out of hand. I told him flat out to get the hell out before I called building security. He tried to play it cool, saying I was overreacting again and burning yet another bridge. Told me this wasn't about the product anymore. It was about my reputation. I told him it was already too late for his reputation. He said, "People forget wins, man, but they never forget someone who takes things personal in public." I laughed, loudly. Told him, "You literally committed IP theft on stage, and you're lecturing me about public image." Told him to get out before I made a scene. And here's where it turned from annoying to unhinged. He straightened up, looked around like he was making sure no one was watching, and said, "You think this little internet circus is going to protect you when the money dries up? You think these VCs are loyal? I know all of them. I've been in this game longer than you've been legal to drink." I told him I'd rather start from scratch than owe anything to the kind of person who thinks stealing someone's pitch is just part of the game. Then I took the gift bag. Yeah, I took it, not because I wanted it, but because I didn't want him to keep standing there holding it like some cartoon villain trying to look generous, and dumped the contents on the floor. It was a bottle of scotch, Glenfiddich, expensive as hell, a monogrammed notebook, and, I swear to God, a printed copy of a Medium article titled "The Myth of the Self-Made Founder." He left while I was staring at it. Co-working manager came by a minute later after hearing raised voices. I explained. They banned him from the building. Here's the messed up part though. That notebook he gave me? I flipped through it later just out of morbid curiosity. First few pages were blank. Then around page 6, I saw some scribbles. He'd outlined a pitch deck. Not for Flowpilot. That name's dead in the water now. But some new fake startup idea. Almost like he was trying to bait me into stealing his idea now so he could flip the script legally. It felt calculated. Like he wanted me to get angry, take the bait, do something dumb he could use against me later. I threw the whole thing in the trash. Anyway, real update on the project. Flowpath's beta is finally open. Got about 400 signups from the traffic boost and press. The VCs who stuck around have been chill so far. One of them even said the drama helped prove I had backbone. Still don't know where this all goes. Still not sleeping great. But if that clown thinks showing up with a whiskey bottle and veiled threats is gonna intimidate me back into silence, he's got another thing coming. Update 2. I knew the dude was spiteful. I knew he was petty, but I didn't know how far he'd go until he actually tried to sue me. Yeah, after showing up in person and pulling that weird truce stunt, he went quiet for a few days. I assumed he finally crawled back under whatever rock he came from, but nope. I get served on a Tuesday morning outside my apartment like I'm in a Netflix drama. He was suing me for defamation, tortious interference with business relationships, breach of implied contract. My lawyer laughed out loud when he read it, and then said, "Okay, so he's going the scorched earth route." Basically, his claim was that by calling him out and inciting a social media mob, I damaged his reputation, cost him business deals, and violated an implied mentorship confidentiality agreement. There was no NDA, no contract, nothing on paper, but he tried to spin it like mentorship equals IP sharing unless stated otherwise. I won't get too deep into the legal weeds, but here's the important part. He was banking on intimidation. He thought I wouldn't want to deal with the drama, the time, the money. He thought I'd settle, maybe apologize, maybe backtrack to make it go away. Instead, we went to court. It wasn't a full-blown trial, This was early stage, like a preliminary hearing to see if the claims had any standing. But holy hell, you'd think it was the OJ trial from the way he strutted in, dressed like he was the fucking victim. Charcoal gray suit, pocket square, like this was his redemption arc or some shy tea. He brought a PowerPoint, I'm not even kidding, in court, a literal slide deck printed out in a binder, which his lawyer tried to submit as evidence that we had co-developed FlowPath as a team. The judge flipped through the binder and asked one question. Why is this formatted like a pitch presentation and not legal evidence? His lawyer stammered. My lawyer smirked. I just sat there trying not to laugh. Then we submitted our documentation. Again, all the receipts, emails, Slack DMS, my original Git logs with timestamps, a folder marked FlowPath Evidence, with video call recordings of me walking him through UI flows and backend logic while he says stuff like, "Damn, you really built this whole thing yourself." You could feel the air go out of their side of the room. Alex just sat there, not even looking up. His lawyer asked for a recess. Judge denied it. Here's the line that ended it. There's no merit to the claim that an informal mentor-mentee relationship entitles one party to intellectual property rights over the other's work. Motion to dismiss. Just like that. Done. Outside the courtroom, he didn't say a word, just walked straight to the parking lot like a sad used car salesman. His lawyer looked like she wanted to slap him. But get this. As we're leaving, a guy comes up to me in the hallway, early 30s, kind of nerdy looking, glasses, hoodie, says, "Hey, are you the FlowPath guy?" I say, "Yeah." He pulls out his phone and shows me an email. It's Alex, from 3 months ago, pitching him a completely different AI infrastructure framework and asking if he'd come on as a CTO. The kicker? It was a ripoff of this guy's own Medium blog post. This dude said he never responded because the whole thing felt shady, but when he saw my name on the docket, he came just to watch, said it was cathartic seeing Alex finally eat it. I've now heard from 4 separate people who say he's pitched them recycled versions of other people's ideas over the last few years. One of them's writing a whole blog expose about him. Another said he's been banned from at least 2 co-founder platforms for IP shadiness. So where does that leave me? FlowPath is doing all right. We crossed 800 signups, and a few mid-sized dev teams are testing it out in their staging environments. I'm heads down shipping features and trying to hire a second back-end dev. But the trust issues, they're real. I double-check every doc share, every calendar invite, every Slack guest permission. I vet everyone 3 times. I used to think that was paranoid. Now I think it's survival. I wish I could say this is over, that I won, that I'm riding into the sunset with a Series A round and a TechCrunch feature. But the truth is, I'm still cleaning up the mess, still explaining what happened every time a new investor hears Alex's version first, still chasing down LinkedIn posts where he paints himself as the real innovator who got sabotaged by a bitter mentee. It's like fighting a PR ghost that won't stay dead. So after court, I thought I could finally breathe. He got his case tossed. FlowPath was back on track. I was slowly rebuilding trust with people in the community. A few shaky VCs ghosted me, sure, but some stuck around, and we were pushing out real features. I even started feeling kind of, okay, not good, not vindicated, but like I could finally move forward. And then someone DM'd me on Twitter. Random dev from Texas said he'd found something weird on Product Hunt, sent me a link. It was a brand new launch listing, just posted that morning. Barebones description, only a few upvotes. But the name? StreamForge, build smarter DevOps pipelines with AI. At first, I laughed. Another AI DevOps startup. Great, must be Tuesday. But then I clicked through the demo page, and I felt that same ice in my veins chill I felt backstage at the expo. It was my interface, the layout, the color scheme, the same pipeline flow I'd built, the same predictive deployment toggle. Hell, even the bugs were the same. I recognized a typo in the changelog pop-up I'd just fixed last week. This wasn't a clone. It wasn't inspired by FlowPath. It was FlowPath. He didn't even rebuild it. He just took the public beta code, slapped a new name on it, swapped out the logo, and threw it up on a fresh domain. New Twitter handle, new fake founder name, Matt R. But the app itself, 100% my code. I checked the source. Obfuscated, sure, but sloppily. The file tree was still the same. My original commit tags were still embedded in the JS files if you knew where to look. Even the API endpoint still pointed to the same flowpath.dev subdomain. This lunatic had cloned my repo and tried to pass it off as a pivoted solo project. I went straight to GitHub, checked the access logs. Boom. About 3 weeks ago, just before court, there was an unauthorized pull from one of the old shared branches I'd forgotten to lock down after the fallout. That's on me. I'll own that. But he used that pull to spin up a live version of my platform under a fake company, fake team, and tried to launch it like nothing happened. Like the lawsuit didn't happen. Like the expo didn't happen. Like I didn't exist. I felt sick. I pinged my lawyer. Immediately. We drafted and sent a takedown notice within 2 hours. DMCA to his host, a formal cease and desist, and a report to Product Hunt. Thankfully, they moved fast. The listing got yanked. The site went offline the next day. But that wasn't enough. I wanted to make sure nobody fell for this shit again. So I did something I'd been debating for weeks. I wrote a massive Medium post, laid it all out. Not just the theft, not just the court stuff, the whole story. Expo, pitch, emails, screenshots, code diff comparisons, even the damn Glenfiddich bottle. I didn't name him directly, but I didn't need to. Everyone knew. The post blew up. Dev circles shared it like wildfire. Hacker News front-paged it. It got translated into Korean somehow. Founders started DMing me, saying they'd worked with him too and never knew how deep it went. And then, the cherry on top. I got an email from one of his former co-founders. Someone he ghosted years ago after a failed crypto pivot. This guy sent me a Google Drive link with a folder full of receipts, old pitch decks, emails, Slack logs, showing a decade-long pattern of doing this same thing to junior devs, designers, early-stage founders, dozens of people. He wasn't a one-time thief. He was a serial leech. The dude built an entire career out of lifting half-baked ideas from younger, hungrier people and dressing them up just long enough to pitch, raise, or bail. So where are we now? I've locked everything down, rolled out new security protocols, rebuilt parts of the Flowpath backend from scratch just to be sure. The beta's now over 1,200 users strong. We've got 3 paying teams running it full-time. One mid-size company wants to talk pilot programs next quarter. I'm still not funded big, still not famous, still grinding every day. But he's gone. His socials are nuked. His site's dead. Every investor who mattered saw the Medium post. His name's basically radioactive in the Bay right now. Last I heard, he was trying to pitch something in Austin under a different name. So if you see a guy with a fake founder bio and a half-finished AI optimization platform, check the source code. You might just find me in the backend. And if you're someone like me, someone building something real, watch your 6, lock your shit, keep receipts. Don't confuse mentorship for friendship. And never, ever let someone with a bigger mouth make you feel small.